Okay guys, so you're actually at this time, I'm going to switch over the camera so you guys can see me. So this is the same day, which is the 20th, and you guys are actually in Mr. Favell's class, right? So what I'm going to do is this video here is going to be over the October 9th exemplar. So what that means, just in case, I just learned what exemplars are, but basically the October 9th sheet that you guys have in the week 9 packet, I'm going to go through every single question in this video, and I'm going to go ahead and solve each problem out. So make sure you take notes, that way you're not missing anything. And I'm also going to do one more thing for you guys, which is I'm going to shoot a video maybe right after this, hopefully, or definitely by tomorrow. You'll have a video that will review over everything that will prepare you for the interim assessment, all right? And I'll tell you guys about it tomorrow, that it's ready and uploaded on the YouTube channel. Let me do one thing really quick, is I'm gonna switch back over to the document camera, okay? And I just want to be clear that everything that you need to be successful on Friday, it pretty much is in everything that we've done over this week, and then of course in that video, and then what we're going to cover playing some games Wednesday and Thursday, you should be ready for Friday. Okay, so I think this is recording my screen, so let me just keep doing this. So one more time, just so no one can say they don't know where the YouTube channel is, when you go into one of the tiles, and right here where it says the very last little tab, Mrs. Mosley's YouTube channel, you go here, and I want you to, let me move this over to the side, you scroll up to the very top link, the one right here that says Idea Algebra 1 Help Videos. Click that link, and I'm going to show you what's already there. So if you want to prepare for Friday, again, watch the video that I'm going to post after this one. But this is all the stuff we've covered. So 1-step, 2-step equations. You can look over the overview for exam 1, which is unit 1. There's a unit 1 review video. There's also multi-step equations. I think inequalities are in there too. Domain and range. There's a unit 2 review. Here is the material that we've done up to this point for unit 3. Remember that the IA is going to be over unit 1, unit 2, and it has about 5 questions from unit 3. So knowing how to find the slope, knowing how to change an equation into slope-intercept form, or going over to standard form, and then of course look at October 7th and October 8th, okay guys? So hopefully this helps you. Make sure you know where the YouTube channel is. I'm gonna post 2 more videos, this one and another one. All right, here we go. Bear with me 1 second. So of course, on the October 9th packet, I'm getting all the problems together. Yeah, here we go. Is we talked about domain and range. This was a review question. There is no domain or range question on the assessment on Friday, so you don't have to stress too much about that, but I am going to go over this problem. Okay. There we go. So just real quick, remember when they talk about the domain, they're talking about the x values that describe the function. So what are your x values doing on this graph, right? So I told you guys the way to do this is go the furthest point over to the left on the graph. And so I'm just going to tell you, I know it's really hard to see, this is -9. Okay, -9. The other thing you need to know is because it's an open circle, that means you're not equal to that value, and I'm looking on the x-axis, okay? So far, I don't want something with a -6. Okay. The other thing I notice on H and J, you guys, is you see how it says that G of X? Remember I've told you if you ever see something like F of X, G of X, doesn't matter, H of B, these are all Y values. So anytime you see this notation, replace this, or this with a Y, right? So that means that H and J, okay, you don't want these two because they're talking about range. So we cancel these out because these we're talking about Y, which are our range values. So we have to look at just F and G because again, it has an X, okay? All right, so again, when I look at this, I notice that my X value, there's a -9, okay? Also, here's another thing I showed you guys. put the actual point, -9, comma, and then I think this is 1, 2, 3, so -9, comma 3, and then go get the coordinate for this one, which is 2, comma, -6, and all I'm focused on, you guys, is I'm only focused on the x coordinates of those points. So let's look at the -9, and let's look at the 2. Okay? So then when you look at your answer choices, see, we have x is greater than -9, x is less than and equal to 2. Whereas this one, look what it says, x is greater than and equal to -9. See, I'm not equal to -9 because it's an open circle. Okay, so the answer is F. All right, so the answer to this one is F, really easy. The other thing I've showed you as a trick is I told you if you're looking at the domain, why don't you pull your values down to the x-axis? So let me show you that. So if I put an open circle here at -9, and then I come up to x equal 2 and put a solid circle there, do you see that? And then I highlight everything in between here. Those are the acceptable x values. That describes the domain of the function. So my x values are what? They're greater than, but not equal to -9, and they're less than 2. So I hope that one makes sense to you guys. All right, let's go on. So the objective for October the 9th, I'm just going to read this real quick, is it says you have to be able to write linear equations in 2 variables in various forms. So you have to be able to put it in this form, which is what? Slope-intercept. Let me get a highlighter. Whoops. So if you have y is equal to mx plus b, this one is in slope-intercept. So can you put a linear equation in slope-intercept form? And again, the reason why it's called slope-intercept, of course, is because m is our slope, and then right here, 0, comma, b is our y-intercept. That's why it's named that, y-intercept. Okay? The other way you have to be able to put your linear equation is in standard form, and we talked about that today. So this one right here, when it's ax plus by is equal to c, this one is in standard form. Okay? We're going to do more practice of this for sure. Okay? And the last way that they want you to put a linear equation is in point slope. So this one right here is in point slope form. Okay? Point slope. So if you can be able to write these equations in all these 3 forms, I'm telling you, on the STAR, Unit 3 is one of the most, like a lot of questions come from here, okay? So can you put a line in slope-intercept? Can you put it in point slope form? Can you put it in standard form? And that's what this particular video is going to be about, all right? So notice again, and again, the worksheets are already posted, so if you need to get to the formulas, they should really be in your notebook at this time. But I've given you the slope formula. If you need to, just put an equal and a big M. This is for slope. That's the formula to find slope. So you use this one, guys, if you have 2 points. So the way I think of this is as soon as I see a question with 2 points, I better go find M. The next thing I've given you is this equation here. And again, this is point slope. All right, so let's look at the first one. And I know the answer is circled, but I still want to show you where I got this from. Now, what I'm going to say to you right at this particular moment, right now, is I told you to put a star by this question. They have a question very similar to this on Friday. So everyone pay close attention, okay? Here we go. So you have a table of data, all right? The first thing that I notice is, hey, I have an X column and a Y column. Well, I can make points, right? Because I know that X, this is the input. Y is always my output. I plug in values of X, I get out a specific Y value, right? So I can make the point then, -20, -268. So that's this first point. So I'm just telling you that this is your X1, this one is Y1, okay? Then I have a second point here. This is my input, there's my output. Well, I make another point. And I'm going to put some arrows. So I can do negative 14 comma negative 196. Okay? So now that I have those 2 points, and again, this is my x2 and this is my y2. Okay? I also up here, it says it right here. Write the first 2 points from the table. x1, and that was a typo right here. This is y1. x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so here we go, ready? So as soon as I have these 2 points, boom, my brain tells me, let's use the slope formula, okay? Because what is it asking me? It says, which equation represents the same relationship? So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and do m equals, my y2 is negative 196 minus, my y1 is negative 268, and then my x2 is negative 14, minus, and then the x1 is negative 20. And as soon as I see the minus minus, I'm going to change those to pluses. And now I'm ready to calculate my numerator, okay? So 268 minus 196, I got to subtract, okay? And I believe it's 72, but let's just use the calculator real quick. So 268 minus 196, yes, is 72. Hope everybody can see that. So I have 72 in the numerator, and then here I have 6. And I know that 72 divided by 6 is 12, positive 12, okay? So when I go to my answer choices, guys, that's why I canceled out F and G, because it's 1 over 12, all right? So it's between H and J. Now, once I have my M, right? And because this already looks like it's in point slope form, that means I need to use the point slope formula, okay? So very carefully, I'm going to do y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and choose the very first point because he's first, and that's already my x1 and my y1. So just to be clear, my x1, guys, is equal to negative 20. My y1 is equal to negative 268. I'm so sorry this is messy because I got to get some paper. All right, here we go. So y minus, my y1 is that negative 268 equals, the m is 12. And then remember, don't plug anything in for this first one. So we're just going to drop down that x minus, my x1 is negative 20. I also wrote it right here. I also wrote it right there. So minus minus 20 plus 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 plus. All right, here we go. So now that's it, because they don't want it in slope-intercept form. They wanted it in point slope. So the answer is H, right? Because here's how they'll try to trick you. They'll say, hey, maybe these kids don't know that the y1 goes here and the x1 is there, right? But again, the formula's on the formula sheet, so don't miss it. So notice how they put the 20 here and they put a positive 268. The answer is H, all right? Now this one I worked out in class. I'll go through it super fast, okay? But I circled again which equation in standard form. So as soon as I see standard form, AX plus BY is equal to C, okay? Which equation in standard form has a graph that passes through this point and has this slope, right? So again, they've given us the m, which is 9/2. They've given us the point, negative 4, comma 2. So I'm going to label that x1, y1. So as soon as I know that I have a point and a slope, I'm going to use point slope. So I'm going to write that formula down. Okay? So very carefully, we're going to substitute it in, all right? So I'm going to put y, don't ever put anything on that first y, minus y1 is 2. Our m is 9 over 2, open parentheses, x minus, and our x1 is negative 4. Okay? And again, see, we can't cancel out anything just yet. So the minus minus, let's make it a plus plus. And remember I told you, as soon as you substitute in your m, and then you plug in your point, your x1 and y1, be careful with your signs. The first thing you're going to do is the distributive property. So I'm going to put those little notes on the side. Ready? Step 1, dp. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 9/2 through the parentheses. But remember, in math, guys, pay close attention to this. We always go back over to the left. So drop down your y minus 2. Okay, now I'm ready to do the distributive property. 9 over 2x, and then I'm going to do some scratch work, maybe like right here. 9 over 2 times a positive 4 over 1 is equal to 36 over 2. That's where we get 18 from. Okay? The second step after you do the distributive property is you're going to move your constant. Okay? So you got to do the inverse operation. We're just going to put inverse, okay? Move constant to the right of the equal sign, to the right side of equal, okay? So that means there's a minus 2 here. I'm going to change it to a plus 2, plus 2. Oh my goodness, I messed up. Okay, let me do this real quick. I apologize. I'm supposed to put it in standard form. I was getting ready, oh my goodness, to change it into slope-intercept. Sorry about that. So just so you know, just real quick, just so I show it, y equals 9 over 2x plus 20. Again, this is slope-intercept. They didn't want that. Just want to, because I messed up. Slope-intercept. That's not what we want. We want it like this, right? So let me go back to this step, guys, and I'm going to move my x over to this side. All right? So I'm going to go back here. Y minus 2 equals, and then put 9 halves x plus 18. Okay? So actually could just come from here. Whoops, that's fine. You can tell I'm tired. All right, it doesn't matter if you want to move your x to this side first and move the number next. It doesn't matter the order, but there, we're right, okay? Let's go from this step, all right? I'm going to put the 2 on this side because I want the constant to be on the right anyway because of the c, right? I want the number by itself on the right. So we'll be here, back to slope-intercept. Y is equal to 9 over 2x plus 20. All right, here we go. So I want to put it in standard form. Move the x and the y over to the same side. So we have to change the sign. 9 over 2, that's a 2. X minus 9 over 2x. Okay, and I'm going to go to the top of this paper. So now I have, just come up here, negative 9 over 2x plus y equals 20. And remember, the whole point of a is you want a to be greater than or equal to 1, and it has to be positive. So I'm going to multiply everything in this equation by a negative 2, right? Not just the 2, and I'm going to highlight that again. It's negative 2 because I want to get rid of that negative 9. So I have to multiply by whatever's in the denominator on the a term. I hope you hear me say that. So I'm going to come and multiply everything by negative 2. Okay? And this is like having that over 1. So this is positive 18 over 2. Positive 18 divided by 2 is 9x. One thing, I don't know if it'll hurt you guys, but when I teach college level, is I always tell my students that anytime the number matches in its diagonal, right, they cancel out. But if this was a bigger number, this number divides into that one, okay? And then whatever's left, it multiplies by this one. So I hope I'm not confusing you. But anytime the numbers match, it just makes a 1. I'm just saying, you leave this number alone. So again, this was positive 18 over 2, which was 9x. Negative 2 times y is negative 2y. And then negative 2 times 20. Make sure you multiply it everywhere. Okay? Negative 40. Okay? So that's why the answer to this one, it was H. All right, so I hope everybody's good on that one. Let's go to the next one. All right, then there was this one. And I'm just going to walk through the steps because I've already done them. I don't have any blank copies of this anymore, I don't think. Let me check. So for this one, notice they gave you a graph. And when they give you a graph, it's really important that you see that you have to pull points off of the line. Okay? So I told you guys find clean points. So here's 0, 5, 1, 2 was a nice clean point, and then there was even this one right here, 4, comma, negative 7, right? So trust me on those points. So we have all three of those points. It doesn't matter which two you use. What I'm going to do, just for the sake of working it out, is I'm going to choose this one and this one. And then rework it again. So again, what if I have 1, 2, 4, -7? Let's see if it works out the same. So for my slope, I have x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay? So I'm going to do -7 minus 2. And then I'm going to do 4 minus 1. So this is -9 over 3. You guys see that? -9 over 3 is -3. So my slope is -3, and I just want to show the side by side. So in the problem from class, just so y'all see, it's -3. Notice that I used 4, -7, and 0, 5. But in the problem I just did, I used 1, 2, and 4, -7. It doesn't matter. My m came out exactly the same. Why? Because that is the address on this line. Every point to every point on this line is going to go what, guys? It's going to go 3 down and 1 to the right. So this shouldn't get a different answer. So when I go to my answer choices, I basically do not want C or D because I did not want a +3 as my m. That's why we canceled these two out. All right, so now let's keep going. So now that we have our -3, and I just want to see if this will work out. I want to show y'all, again, I'm playing a little, I want y'all to see this. What if I choose this point? So my m is -3, I'm using this point. Let's watch this. So we're going to use our slope and a point. So I got to use point slope. So y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. I want y'all to see this. So now, what was my y1? My y1 is 2. So I'm going to put y minus 2 equal. My m is -3, open parentheses. Don't plug anything in for the first x. X minus, and my x1 is +1. All right, here we go. So now watch this. When you go to the answer choices, okay, so look at the answer. Y minus 2 equals -3, open parentheses, x minus 1. Is that an answer choice? See, it's not. You notice that again, what I had on my paper is y minus 2. There is no y minus 2. All right, but there is a -3, and then again, these are basically switched.
Okay guys, in this video, I want you to know I have tried to record this, I kid you not, 2 or 3 different times. And I thought I lost the recording and I found a piece of it, so now I'm finishing it off. So I believe before is I did already go through these two. So you should know the answer to those two. I'm going to keep going. All right. So on this one, I also want to say that I went over this problem as well because I pulled 3 points off the line and then I proved to you that the answer is going to be A and not B. So we're just going to go from there. 1 second, I got to get situated. Okay. This one is actually a problem that has to do with evaluating functions. There's no evaluating functions or function notation on the interim assessment on Friday, so you don't have to worry about this. But again, the way this works, I'm going to work it out really quick, is these particular values are in, which are your input. So these are the input that you plug into the different functions down at the bottom. And then over here, these are the output. So these are our y values, and these are our x values. But in the problem, they call it in, and then you notice it says f of n. And remember, I've talked about when you see notations that look like this, right? These are all y values, okay? So anything that looks like that, you replace it. You replace these with a y, okay? All right, so now if you look at these different answer choices, we're just going to carefully plug in the different values of 3, 1, 6, and 7, but we're just going to do the first 3, okay? Okay, so first one, let's do -3, and it says times n, so small, -3 times n plus 24. So we're going to plug in right here, n is equal to 1. We're going to plug it in, see if we get 21. N is equal to 3. You're going to plug it in, you're going to get 15. So you get -3 times 1 plus 24. And then, of course, 24 minus 3, yes, that is 21. Okay, so we still like this answer choice. So let's try another one. Let's try when n is 3. -3 times 3 plus 24. So then the question is 24 minus, this is -9, right, guys? So we got -9 plus 24. We're going to subtract, keep the sign the bigger number. And yes, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. See, it makes 24. So this is a positive 15. So we're still liking this one. Let's do 6. N equals 6. So we get -3 times 6 plus 24. And then for this one, this is -18 plus 24. And yes, I know that I'm going to subtract those. So this is positive 6. So far, we didn't have to do anything. The answer basically is going to be F. Another way to do this, just so we're clear, because this one, again, it's evaluating function. So let's put right here, this is evaluating functions. Evaluating functions, okay? Another interesting thing is, like I said, how you can replace these f of n's with y's? So I'm just going to show you guys something really quick. Y is equal to -3n plus 24. So one thing is, this is in slope-intercept form, correct? Right? We got our y is equal to mx, but it's, of course, an n. And we could just calculate the slope. I mean, think about it. We do have an x1, a y1, an x2, a y2. So I'm going to show you very quickly that I will get a slope of -3. Okay? So if I had the points, let me zoom out, 121, put it right here. If I had the points 1, 21, and then another point of 3, 15, and then I do, again, y2 minus y1, so I would do 15 minus 21 divided by 3 minus 1. This is my m. And of course, if I do my subtraction, right, that's a change to a plus, bump back the negative. This is going to be -6 divided by 2. And -6 divided by 2 is -3. See, everybody? So notice that this problem, even though it's evaluating functions, you still, because you have these points, you could get your m, and then because you could replace these with y's, see, it still looks like y equals mx plus b. So of course I would cancel out g, I would cancel out even j, because these are -1/3, so it would be between f and h. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. So that's your m, and then of course, that would be half the battle, and then we could use point slope. What if I told you that? What if I told you that the next step would be, well, hey, I got y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1, right? And I do y minus, and I'm going to use the first point, right? I'm going to use that 1, 21. So my y1 is 21. My m was -3, open parentheses. I'm just showing you, look at all the ways I can solve this. X minus, and then I had a 1. So then when you do the distributive property, you get y minus 21 is equal to -3x, and this is a plus 3. Let me just move this up. And then the last step is, because it's in slope-intercept form, we're just going to add 21 to both sides. And then there it is. Look, y is equal to -3x plus 24. And that was F. So I just want you to see I worked this literally 2 ways. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, for the independent practice questions, same thing here. Let me zoom out. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to find clean points on here, and we're going to use point slope because all our answer choices are in point slope. You're going to see me kind of zoom in and out a lot. Sorry about that. So the first thing is, let's find 2 points on the line. See if you can do that. Okay. So a couple of points that I see, and I'm going to talk about this actually sometime today, is I'm going to talk about these things called x-intercept and y-intercept. But just to be clear, let's find some points. I like this point right here. This one is 7 for the x, 7, and then up 1, 2. So this is 7, 2. Then another real easy one right here, this is the y-intercept. This is 0, -3. And then another good point is there's one right here. And this one is -4, -6. So it's just all kind of points you can pull off, okay? But I'm going to use 7, 2. And then I'm going to use 0, -3. Let's see what that does for us, okay? So as soon as you have 2 points, guys, your brain should automatically tell you, hey, I should find slope, okay? And then remember, up here is the point slope formula right there. So I'm going to do m equals, we're going to do y2 minus y1. I always come from the right, and then I'm subtracting this number over here on the left that's closest to the, the right of the equal sign, of the parentheses. So this is -3 minus 2 divided by, and then I have 0 minus 7. So here's what we got. This is -5 divided by -7, which changes to +5 over 7. So that's my slope, right? And so when I look at my answer choices, it's not A, and it's definitely not B. It has to be between C and D because of the 5/7. Okay. Then the next thing, of course, is one thing just to cheat a little bit. I'm just saying, right? You notice that, hey, this must be x1. Do I have a x1 of a +7? And then right here, because this is a plus, okay, let me stress this to you guys, okay? Because this is y plus 2, this must be y minus -2. So basically what I'm saying is my y1 should be a -2. Okay, so when I look at my points, do I have anything that's basically, again, this would be a -7 because of that x plus 7. So do I have anything that is -7 and then -2? That's what I would do. Let me zoom in. Okay, so is that point on my line? That's the question, right? So is there a -7 for my, right here, because I got that x plus 7, is there a -7 for x and a -2 for y? Am I on the line? And look, -1, -2, no, I'm not on the line at all. So I don't want C. What if I told you that? Okay, that's another way to look at that. But just to be clear, I mean, that again, this is all the reasoning. The next thing we should do is after we had our 5 over 7, we just do y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. And then carefully, we just start plugging in that 0.7, 2. So y minus, and my y1 was 2, equals, my m was 5 over 7, open parentheses, x minus, and then, of course, from this point over here, the x1 was 7. So as you can see, the answer for this one, you see you have a minus, and you have a minus, not pluses. The answer has to be D. Pretty easy on that one. All right, let's go to the next one. So back to this. So either they're going to give us a graph and we get 2 points, or what if they just gave us 2 points? Okay, so I'm going to label this. This is my x1, this is my y1, this is x2, and this is y2. So if I calculate my m, I have 1 minus 9 over 6 minus 4. And then this right here, becomes negative 8. Change to a plus, bump back, subtract. Negative 8 over 2. So my m is negative 4. So because the slope is negative 4, that means in my answer choices, I don't want A or B. Okay, A or B. So I definitely want to keep C and I want to keep D. All right. So then the next thing is I notice very carefully then, okay, well, look at my points, right? So I know I have right here, see how that's a y plus 1, guys? That means my y1 must be a negative 1. And then because I have a plus in this parentheses, that means my x1 must be a negative 6. Okay, sorry, I'm moving a lot. So when I look at my points, here's the question, ready? Is there a negative 1 for my y1? No, one of my y's is a positive 1. See? So it's not a negative 1. And then same thing with this one. You see, to get a plus right here, guys, this must have been a negative 6, a minus minus, but here I have a positive 6. So I don't even like C. But if we still don't understand what I'm saying, then why don't we just choose a point, right? Like we could literally just go ahead and choose this point here because that's our x1, y1, and then let's carefully plug it in. Hold on one second. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is write my point slope formula at the top of the page. Y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. Okay, so carefully I do y minus, my y1 is 9, positive 9. And then my m was a negative 4, open parentheses. Don't plug anything in for this first x. Put your subtraction, and your x1 was a 4. So just to be clear, we want something that looks like this. And then go ahead and look at D. So we have y minus 9 equal negative 4, and then x minus 4, x minus 4. The answer is D. All right. I don't think we've done this one, so I want to definitely do this one. Okay. So now for this one, notice this one is in point slope. This is in point slope form. And look what it says. Convert the following linear equation to standard form. Sorry about that, guys. It's too loud, Alaric. Too loud. Okay, go to the room. Go to the room. Thank you, baby. Okay, so we want to change our point slope into standard form, right? So the first thing we're going to do, guys, remember I talked to you about this, is usually what we're used to doing is, hey, they give us 2 points. We go get our m. After we use our m, right? We get our m, and then we use point slope by choosing a point, using the slope, and then we get it here. Okay, now from here, they can ask us 2 ways. They can say, hey, put the line in slope intercept, or put the line in standard form. So the first step is always to do the distributive property. So we're going to go back to the left. We're going to drop down that y minus 8 equals. We're going to multiply the negative 9 over 8, so negative 9 over 8x. And then watch my scratch work over here on the side. I'm going to do negative 9 over 8 times negative 7 over 1. Okay, this is positive 63 over 8. Yes, positive 63 over 8. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back here, positive 63 over 8. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is after we do the distributive property, so dp is always step 1. Step 2 is to move our constant over to the right side. So I'm going to change colors real quick, and I'm going to put a plus, oops. I'm going to put a plus 8, cancel that out. Again, this is step 2, is we just change the sign and then we move over the constant, okay? And now we're left with y is isolated by itself equals, leave the negative 9 over 8x, our m, the same. Now we got to do some more scratch work. So we come back to this 63 over 8, and we're trying to add 8 over 1 times 8 times 8. So this becomes 64 over 8, and then plus 63 over 8. And this is where we get 127 over 8. Okay, 127 over 8. So now I come back to here and put plus 127 over 8. Okay, so this right here, if they asked us, hey, convert the line to slope-intercept form, we would be done. And then I would say to you, what is the slope? You would say, hey, my m, which is right here, negative 9 over 8 is my m. What is my y-intercept? You would put 0, comma, 127 over 8. But because they want this problem in standard form, we have to get our x and y over to the same side of the equal sign. So again, I'm going to change colors. Let's add 9 over 8, and the x comes with it, over to the left. Okay. All right, and so here's the last step. So now that we have the x and the y together, I'm going to rewrite it. So I have 9 over 8x plus y is equal to 127 over 8. And remember, we always want our a term to be positive and greater than 1. Okay? And I know what you're thinking. This is greater than 1. 9 over 8, it is 1 point something, but we want some whole numbers. Nice, clean whole numbers or integers, basically. So we're going to multiply by 8. Just by a big O 8. And then we're going to come back, whatever's in the denominator, that's what we multiply by. If this was a negative 9 over 8, then we would have multiplied by negative 8. So let's do the distributive property one last time. And again, this is like having 8 over 1. So basically 9 times 8, guys, is 72. 72 divided by 8 is what? 9x. 8 times y is plus 8y. And then guess what? 8 times this huge number, right? And then divided by 8, I'm just telling you, it's 127. So the answer we want is right there in front of us, and we slashed it out a little bit. The answer is D. Okay, hope that's making sense. Remember, the point of this video is everything is about point slope, guys. Everything is about point slope in this particular video. I'm trying to see what else I got. Oh yeah, let's do this. Okay, I only have 3 more. All right, let's look at this one. Here's the question. Determine the linear equation. So anytime they say linear equation, they may say, hey, I want it in standard form, this line. I want it in slope-intercept. Okay, they want it in either one of those, okay? Or point slope. They may want to leave it like this. So anytime you see them talk about an equation or function, they want a line. Okay, in this case, and they give you a line. So it says determine the linear equation using point slope formula. Find the slope first, then use the formula. So again, we got 2 points. So I'm going to always say the point on the left is my point 1, and then this one is point 2. So I'm going to say that my negative 2, comma 7 is the x1, y1. And 6, comma 1 is x2, comma y2. Okay, so now let's go get slope like they told us. So 1 minus 7 over 6 minus negative 2. Watch those signs. So this right here, guys, becomes negative 6 over 8. I changed to a plus, bump back the negative. Hope you guys can see that. It's a negative 7. And then, of course, you have to reduce and simplify fractions. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2. So I would get negative 3 over, divide that by 2, we would get 4. Negative 3 over 4. So what does that mean? Here's the address. Ready? We go 3 down and then 4 to the right. And then let's see if that's true on the graph. So if we go to this point and we want to get over to here, okay, well, here's the interesting thing. Ready? We're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, and then boom, I do touch the line 4. Let's do the address again. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, and boom, 4. See? So that is the address to get from there to there. And I'm going to go ahead and just show 1. So 1, 2, 3, and then this way 4, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the address. Okay. So now that we, sorry, I missed, oh, this is another problem at the bottom. So now that we have our m is the negative 3 over 4, we're just going to use one of these points. So let's use the first one. Okay, so I'm going to circle it. So right here in this space, let's do our point slope. Y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. And then I'm going to say y minus, again, my y1 is 7 equals, my m, you guys, was negative 3 over 4, open parentheses. And then x minus, and then I had negative 2 for the x1, so it becomes a plus 2. Okay, now usually what they like to see, I'm just being honest, is they like to see slope-intercept, and then they like to see standard form. So I'm going to do both super quick. So for this one, still have to do the distributive property. So y minus 7 is equal to negative 3 over 4 x, and then I'm going to do my scratch work up here. So if I have negative 3 over 4 times 2 over 1, sorry about that, we would just multiply across. So we would get negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 over 4 times 1 is 4. And then I want to reduce this. So divide this one by 2, I would get negative 3. Divide this one by 2, I would get 2. So negative 3 over 2 is my number back here. That's okay. And then if they wanted this in slope-intercept, then we would just add 7, and then under this one, add 7. Running out of room. But let's do my scratch work, okay? So far, here's what I have. I have y equals, and then here's my mx. Y equals negative 3/4 x. And then here's my scratch work. Ready? So if I had negative 3 over 2 plus 7 over 1, I wanted 2 in the denominator, so times 2 to the bottom, times 2 to the top. So this will become negative 3 over 2 plus, this is 14 over 2. Okay, these are the same fraction. 14 divided by 2, it is 7. But again, I have to get the same common denominator when I do addition and subtraction. So this is 11, if I subtract, right? 11 over 2. So I'm going to say plus 11 over 2. So this is the slope-intercept. And then you would say to me, hey, my m, Miss Mosley, it is negative 3 over 4. And then my 0, 11 halves is my y-intercept. That's if we're in slope-intercept. Now, what if they want us to do standard form? So we would move this negative 3/4 x over to this side, right? And again, change that to a plus. So I'm going to just do this super quick. So 3/4 x plus y equals 11 halves. Remember, I'm trying to get in standard form. Because there's a 4 right here in the denominator and it's positive, we're just going to multiply this whole thing by a 4. Clean this up by doing the distributive property because I want some nice clean numbers. And so again, this is 4 over 1. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divided by 4 is just a 3x. So again, when it's diagonal, they basically just make that a 1, and then you just put whatever's there as your answer. So 3x, this is a 4y when I multiply. Now let's do the scratch work for this one. If I have 4 times 11, that's 44. And then 1 times 2 is 2. So I have 44 divided by 2, and 44 divided by 2 is 22. But the cool thing is, again, so this is the answer in standard form. And so you have both forms, because they didn't specify in the question. They just said write the equation. So they may want it in slope-intercept or this one. So I hope it's making sense now. All right, let's talk about these, because there is going to be a homework I'm giving you for this coming weekend. And those beautiful people that came to tutoring today, they did a lot of these, so they know what to do. It's like 6 or 7 of them came. Okay, so it says, write basically the equation of the line that passes through this point with this slope. So it should be very evident to you, because they say find the equation, and they give you what? A point and a slope. Let's use point slope. And notice your answer choices are in what? Slope-intercept. So hear all that vocabulary. They gave us a point. We have a slope, use point slope. So y minus y1 is equal to m, x minus x1. So very carefully, y minus my y1 is a positive 2, so y minus 2. My m is a negative 7 over 3, open parentheses, x minus, and then my x1 is 3. So I know I got to do the distributive property. So negative 7/3 x. And then my scratch work, just real quick, is if I had negative 7 over 3 times negative 3 over 1. So remember, this was negative. So I put negative 7 over 3. and then I'm doing multiplication. Oh, let me show you the arrows so you know I'm doing the distributive property. So negative 7 over 3x is negative 7/3 x. Negative 7 over 3 times negative 3 over 1. See, this is positive 21 over 3. So that's where I get a plus 7 from. Last step, after you do the distributive property, you just move your constant by doing the inverse operation to both sides. There's the answer. Y is equal to negative 7/3 x and then plus 9. So the answer would be C. Done. Super duper easy. All right, let's talk about this one because I haven't done this one. It says, write what is the equation in slope-intercept form. So as soon as you see these different words or vocabulary or these different forms for equations, you should start really hammering down what they look like and what they're asking you to put it in. So this one is y equal mx plus b. That's the slope-intercept form. And this particular equation they want, it passes through the point negative 4 comma 47. So I'm going to put negative 4 comma 47. And it also passes through the point 2 comma negative 16. So I have to calculate my m. Okay. So m is equal to y2 minus y1. So negative 16 minus 47 divided by 2 minus negative 4. Okay, let's look at our math now. So I'm going to change that to a plus, bump back. So I'm going to add these two. I believe that's negative 68. Yeah, because, I'm so sorry, negative 63, because 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry the 1. Yeah, negative 63 over, and then 6. So then the question becomes, how many times does 6 divide into 63? Well, did I do my math right? Let's see. Give me a second. 16 minus 47, yeah? I did. So 6 goes into 63. 1 time. 6, 0, 3 goes in there. No times. 1, 0, 3. Put a decimal. Weird. Oh, don't ask me why I'm doing division to, Let's leave it as a fraction. I just thought this could go in there evenly, and it doesn't. It just doesn't, because if it was 60, it would go in there 10 times. Yeah. So sorry about this. I had a little brain freeze. We just reduce it. So what number can go into both of those? I'm going to say 3. So if I divide this one by 3 and divide the bottom by 3, again, I'm dividing by 3 to both of those. That becomes, down here would be a 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then 3 divides into there 21 times, and it's negative. That's what I had an issue. Sorry. I really thought it could go in there, but it can't. So you couldn't, don't use 2 to divide both of them, even though this one's even. Try 3, and then 3 goes into that one and that one. Okay, so the slope is negative 21 over 2. So if it's negative 21 over 2, then I don't want B, and I don't want D, because I don't want 2 over 21 negative. I want negative 21 over 2. Okay, now that I have my M is negative 21 over 2, well, now I'm going to use one of my points. So let's see if it matters. Let's use this one, the first one. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to use point slope. So y minus, my y1 is 47, equals negative 21 over 2, open parentheses, x plus 4. All right, so now let's do the distributive property. So I have y minus 47 is equal to negative 21 over 2x. And then here's my scratch work. Ready? Negative 21 over 2 times 4 over 1. I can't stress to you enough, how much better it is to just go back to the basics and learn these basic skills in arithmetic. Overall, it will help you to be a better math student, I promise. So if you multiply across, this is going to be negative 84. You could use the calculator. Over 2. And negative 84 divided by 2 is negative 42. Negative 42. Yeah, I agree. So that's negative 42. Okay. And then the last step, of course, after we do our distributive property, dp, we're going to move this 47 by changing the sign over to the right side. Okay, so our final answer, ready? It's going to be y equals, remember this is gone for 0, so y equals negative 21 over 2x, and then we subtract this, and we're going to get a positive 5. So we're looking for a plus 5 in the back. So negative 21 over 2x plus 5. The answer is C. Okay. Just seeing if we're all good. Now remember, I did already do these 2 in class, so I'm only going to do 1. Then I'll stop the video here. And I hope this was helpful. And remember, again, the purpose of this video is point slope. Alright, so again, they give us 2 points. So we got 8 comma 2. And then 12 comma 10. And we're trying to find the equation of this in what? Standard form. ax plus by equals c. Alright, so let's do our m equals 10 minus 2. So again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 12 over 8. 12 minus 8, I'm sorry. So this becomes 10 minus 2 is 8 over, and this is 4. And this becomes a 2. So our m is 2. Okay? So once we have that, then let's use this point right here. That's our x1, y1. So again, I have my m, I have a slope, and I have a point. Again, remember, this is x1, the bottom one, that's y1. All right, so now I'm going to do y minus y1 is equal to m, x minus x1. I'm moving pretty quick, sorry. Y minus, our y1 is 2, our m is 2. Just plug in stuff in, guys. Open parentheses, x minus 8. All right, here we go. So now remember, first step, do the distributive property. On the left, just drop down our y minus 2. And then we have 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. All right, next step, move the constant over to the right side. So now we have y is equal to 2x, and this is negative 14. And remember, we want to move the 2x over with the y so we can get ax plus something y equal a number. So we're going to subtract 2x. Okay, that's no longer on the right. Last step, negative 2x plus y is equal to negative 14. We do not want this negative. Okay, so we're going to multiply everything by negative 1 because we don't want that negative 2 on the x. So this is going to be negative 1 times negative 2 is just a positive 2x. Negative 1 times y is minus y. And this is 14. Okay. So the answer we want is 2x minus y equals 14. And it's J. 2x minus y is equal to positive 14. Alright, that concludes this video. It was over point slope. I will shoot another video probably while we're in class like tomorrow. I will shoot one that will help you get ready for the interim assessment.